all right, I'm going to leak it, prove everyone wrong. So I get my way and I get to put it out. And I, sure enough, just like leaked a teeny part of the chorus that I had written in my car, and it blew up and it got like a couple million views. Hello, hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I am doing well. Thank you so much for doing this, Stella. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm Adam, and this is a podcast about you, your journey in music, and we'll talk about the new record you have out.
Awesome. Amazing. Sounds good.
Cool. Awesome. First off, just tell me, I know obviously you're from Georgia. Tell me about being born and raised there.
Born and raised. I was born in Peachtree City, or I guess I was technically born in Knoxville, Tennessee, but
Were you
immediately
really?
like moved. Yeah.
Oh, that's killer. I'm in Nashville. I'm recently moved to Nashville.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, I'm originally from San Diego. I did see that. You're in LA, right? Is that what I read?
Yeah, I'm in LA now.
We like swapped.
Yeah, we really did.
So you're born in Knoxville. How long were you in Tennessee very long, or
no? So I was adopted. Fun fact, right off the bat.
Okay.
So I was technically born in Knoxville, but then immediately, like, my parents like live in Georgia. So I was born and raised in Georgia from there. And
that's amazing.
Yeah.
What was it like growing up in Peachtree, Georgia?
Peachtree City. It was super fun. We grew up in a really beautiful city. And it was on the outskirts of Atlanta, probably like 45 minutes south. So I, growing up, would go into Atlanta a lot with my friends. So it was nice to get the big city vibes while also having like the small town kind of Southern charm at the same time.
Yeah, Atlanta's blowing up. I mean, like, so much is going on there. Music, movies, like everything is moving out to Georgia, I feel like. It
really is, especially the film industry right now too. Like, it used to be called Pinewood Studios, but I think they changed it to Trilith Studios. But that's actually, I think, in Peachtree City. Like, I think the headquarters of it are in my hometown now. Which
no
is
way.
pretty wild. Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah. I think it's too expensive to shoot in California anymore. So they're like, we're just going to take it all to Georgia.
Yeah. No, for real.
Wow. Okay. So what about getting into music? How old were you when you got into music?
Yeah. So I started taking music seriously when I was about 17, 18. I grew up as an athlete. I played soccer my whole life, was a goalkeeper. And then when I was 16, I had a pretty crazy back injury. That was brutal. I ended up getting surgery. And after that, I was kind of like, what do I do with my life now? And
Did you get hurt playing soccer? Sorry to stop on this. Okay.
Yeah. So I actually think that it started with a wakeboarding accident that I got into.
Okay.
My friend and I went double wake boat, and my rope was shorter than I thought. She ran over me with her board, and it was awful. But I never really got the chance to heal after that, so I went straight into soccer season. And because I was a goalkeeper, I was like diving like left and right every day. And sure enough, over time, like that next year, I started getting
see, I'm only asking these questions because I've had 4 cervical spine surgeries. So like you were, sounds like you were a bit lower on the back spinal surgeries. Mine were all up here. Yeah, mine were C3, C4, C5, C6. Yeah, so like pretty much this whole thing. Yeah, so I feel you on the back stuff. It's awful.
Yeah,
okay, so you hurt yourself on the wakeboard, sounds like, and then over time, it just was it a bulge disc?
Yeah, it was a herniated disc, and it started out with just like basic back pain, and I was like, oh, that's annoying, but whatever. I was sore all the time growing up.
Yeah, was it like sciatica-ish, like down your leg and everything?
Yeah, so it eventually started going down my right leg, and I was like, okay, this is a problem. And then eventually, I went through physical therapy, MRIs, X-rays. Like, I got steroid epidural injections, like the whole shebang.
Yeah.
But
I know exactly how you feel. I went through the same stuff. They were doing the core steroid shots. None of that worked. I'm like, okay, just get in there.
Yeah.
Did they replace the disc, or what did they do?
No, so they actually just they just like sawed off the part that was like bulging out.
Oh my goodness.
Like removed like a teeny little part of my like backbone. I don't know if it was my L4 or L5, but whatever.
Is it like a laminectomy? What do they call it?
It's called a microdiscectomy.
Okay, I had one on the back where they had to cut a big bone piece out in my back.
No. Are you okay now?
Yeah, this is just getting weird, but
you're like, yeah, everything's fine. Everything's totally fine.
We don't need to go down there, but I was just curious because like with surgeries and stuff, especially back, and You probably couldn't. I mean, that way I couldn't turn my head. I mean, I'm still kind of weird with it. Like I get pain down my arms, my hands and stuff, which sucks. But like when you go lower on your back, I mean, when it starts affecting your legs, you probably couldn't walk very well, I'd imagine at one point.
It was, it got to the point of where it was so painful. Like I just stopped going to school because I was like, I gave up.
Oh my
I was
gosh,
like
I'm
late
so
to all my
sorry.
classes. Like, no, it's fine. But once I got surgery and stuff, they were like, you obviously can never play soccer again. And I was devastated because like when you're in high school, whatever you put yourself into, like that's your whole identity. So
right, that's probably what you were shooting for, right? I mean, going to college, play soccer, or like, yeah.
Right. So I was devastated, but I actually grew up taking piano lessons. My mom forced me to do that. And it's like the classic scenario of me thanking her now, being like, thank God I had that, because when I had to quit playing sports, I would go down to the piano in my basement and I would just write songs until like 2 a.m. in the morning, until my parents would come down and like yell at me, being like, you're waking us up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it came really naturally for me just because I already had like the knowledge and the muscle memory from growing up sight reading and stuff. But I also had a really good ear. So I just started writing songs and they were really bad at first, honestly, not good at all. But over time, like once I got into music, doors just kind of started opening, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, wow, this is exactly what I was put on this earth to do. And I wish that I had known sooner.
That's amazing. How old were you when the injury happened? Like, how far in high school? I was
16, yeah.
Okay, so you're like a junior, sophomore, junior at that point?
Sophomore year.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. So, but before that, were you into creative writing or anything like that? No, nothing. I sat down at the piano one day and just started putting lyrics, everything together.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. I like really, especially growing up, Atlanta obviously is a very musical city, and that was super inspiring, getting to look up to all the artists that were coming out of there. But in my hometown specifically, no one really did music. Like pop music was not a thing, and if you did music, you were in the like worship band at church. So it was such a far-fetched, just like outrageous idea to be a pop artist that I would have never considered that in my wildest dreams. But once I started getting into music and doors started opening up, I was like, oh wow, this actually is possible. But yeah, I didn't grow up writing songs or anything. I kind of was starting from scratch.
With piano, though, going through lessons as a kid, I mean, was it one of those like sit up properly and then this lady's gonna like smells like cats and she's like swacking you with something?
It luckily didn't smell like cats. I will say my piano teachers were pretty chill, but they would and they weren't like aggressive or anything. I've heard like from piano teachers, but
that's why I was wondering. I've heard just from this podcast, I've heard some real nightmare stories. I didn't know.
Yeah, I can only imagine, honestly. But no, my issue was my fingers would always be straight, and I still to this day still play pretty straight when your hands are supposed to be curved like this. So my teacher would always put an orange underneath my hand, being like, all right, this is what you're doing.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
And so with that, did you keep up with the lessons? Obviously you knew enough to go back down and play.
Yeah. So hurt. It actually kind of makes me sad because I have a very good ear for stuff. So when I started picking up music and like songwriting and stuff, I stopped taking piano lessons and I didn't keep up with sight reading. So it bums me out because I used to be able to you'd put a piece of sheet music in front of me and I could read it just like that. And I've kind of lost all of that at this point. But I am able to listen to a song and then play it.
I was going to say that's probably a skill set. I would rather have that skill set to be able to hear and then play it than be able to just read a sheet of, which is still a cool skill to have. But when it comes to songwriting, I'm sure having the ear for it is such a advantage. I would imagine just not having the classically trained, okay, this note goes with this note and they're reading it this way, or even to be able to come up with your own music instead of just only knowing what somebody's going to throw in front of you.
Yeah, totally. I think for pop music specifically, I'm very glad and grateful that I have a good ear. It's come in handy a lot.
Wow. Okay. So you start writing songs. Do you show people your songs, or is it this thing that you're just doing at home because your pain can't really play soccer?
I ended up just writing 5 or 6 songs that I was like, okay, I'm comfortable putting these out to the world. So I just like got connected to this one guy who kind of helped us through the distribution process, because like we did not know what we were doing at all. And after that, I got connected to this guy named Steve Sparrow, who's actually my manager now. But I like put these 5 songs out, was not really expecting anything to come from it. And yeah, all of a sudden I got connected through the one producer that I knew to my current manager, Steve. He had just moved to America from the UK and was looking for someone to like kind of, or like a new project to kind of get involved with. And he heard my voice on one of the songs and was like, who is that? I want to work with her. So we started writing songs together, and he taught me the proper way to write music. And yeah,
at this point, were you still in Georgia? Are you still in Georgia at this point?
Yeah, I was still in Georgia at this point. This was like my senior. This is like this is probably like halfway through my senior year, and then like the summer after, before I went to college.
Wow. So you got into it quickly. I mean, to have people find you that fast, and
no joke, like doors just like opened. I was like, dang, that's a universe thing. Like it kind of forced its way into my life, which I'm really grateful that it did.
Did you put them up like with Spotify thing at this point? Or how would you, how are people finding your songs? Were you telling kids
it was
at all?
I had like put them up on like iTunes and like Apple Music at the time, and he didn't hear it randomly like on Spotify. He heard it through the producer that did my stuff with me.
Okay.
So that's how that happened. But yeah, after that it was really crazy, because I ended up going to Belmont University in Nashville.
That's crazy.
And that's when my life started getting really, really busy, because I was so it was really hectic taking classes, because they kept music students like classes I would have 6 or 7 a day.
Yeah.
And like 18 credits per semester. So I would be staying up until like 2 a.m. working on homework. And then all of a sudden I'd be like, okay, it's 2 a.m. time to write a song. Like, which was really frustrating, honestly. So I, every weekend, would drive all the way from Nashville down to Atlanta to the studio that we would use, so I could keep writing songs with my manager.
Wow, that's a long drive. Night,
yeah,
for people who are unaware of it, that's like solid 6 hours.
So we put out UFO just completely independently, bootlegged the whole thing, didn't know what we were doing, but it ended up getting heard by Mike Karen over at APG. Wow. And this is the very beginning of sophomore year at Belmont. And so I started getting flown out to record labels like every other week, because just typical music industry, once one person like hears of someone's name that's like unfamiliar,
everyone's like, hey,
who is this? So I started getting flown out like left and right. Stopped going to class because I was just like, whatever, I'm out of here.
Like, I've already done, I've achieved what all of you are trying to do.
But I ended up signing to RCA Records.
Massive.
And that allowed me to drop out of school, which was kind of my game plan. Like going into college, I like wanted to drop out as fast as I could.
Well, you just really, I mean, real quick, what were you going for? Music business?
I was actually going for commercial voice.
Cool.
Which if I could go back in time, I don't think I would have gone to school at all, but if I still chose to go to school, I would have gone for music business.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like I've interviewed a lot of people that either went Belmont, Berkeley, and it's like when you get the gig, right, or you get the thing happens, you get the label, the manager, where everything kind of changes. It's like, what's the point of this, right? I mean, when you graduate, that's kind of the goal, is to make it to that level. And it's when you get there, it's like, all right, well, I'm done. I'm out.
Yeah.
With that, did you have like roommates and other people that were attending Belmont, and were they jealous of your situation at all?
No, everyone was really supportive, actually. I've gotten very blessed to like, everyone in my life is super supportive. My parents have always been on board with music. Like, I feel like I really lucked out with that. And I'd be doing music no matter what, but having everyone in my life be super supportive has helped me like immensely.
Yeah. Because if you're like, your peers are all like salty about it, like, like she's got a deal. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
People.
I will say, I do think there are a couple people back in my hometown that like because my real name's actually not Stela Cole. It's Chattinger.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna call. Oh, you could say it. Okay, cool.
It's like, it's not like a big secret. It's not like Hannah Montana. What?
Okay.
But yeah, I think like when I changed my name, people were like, okay, like bet. Like I think people thought I was kidding. But
Okay.
once I started putting out music and it started doing well, then people started taking it seriously, which is nice.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That is cool. So you get signed to RCA and you put out an EP, correct?
Yes. I put out an EP called Throwing Up Butterflies.
Mm-hmm.
And it did not do well, like at all. And I'm grateful that I was there because I was going off of like no budget and had no connections whatsoever. So they were an incredible stepping stone for me. But at the end of the day, it was not the right team.
Probably learned a lot, I would imagine.
Yeah. Wait, what'd you say? Sorry.
Did you learn a lot from the experience?
I learned a lot.
Okay.
But I think that the biggest issue I had was that they were trying to shape me into something that I was not. And I think they might have thought because I was pretty young when I signed, that I'd be a little bit more malleable. And I just was not agreeing with what their vision was for me. So it was like a constant like tug of war, and the EP came out, and I don't know if everyone was like super excited about the songs that were on it. So it like didn't really get pushed, and it kind of just like died. So
what were they trying to, just because I'm curious, just because I know how your sound now and the lyrical content, and just because you're like this badass with your music now, like or were they trying to make you like this more cookie cutter, like, oh, look, this cute girl, and we're gonna have her write these songs? And okay.
Which like I was a kid at the time, and like not growing up in music, like there was a lot for me to learn. Like I was still trying to find my way as an artist, but they wanted me to kind of be like a Meghan Trainor part 2, very cookie cutter, like pop, which like I love Meghan Trainor, but she already exists.
Right.
So it's just like you can't replicate something that's already been done because you're already like years behind, and she's the best at what she does because she was the first to do it.
Right. Yeah. Just they wouldn't let you have your own voice. It sounds like they wouldn't let you do what you wanted to do, and then that's the reason why you are where you are.
Right. So yeah, after I got dropped, I was like, okay, now I get to take as much time as I need to really develop and learn how to like execute my vision properly. So was that
devastating at all? I mean, to a certain point, it's like kind of a rejection type thing. No, nothing.
I shockingly like I was never really fazed by it. I think the only thing that I missed was my A&R, because my A&R was amazing. His name was Quinn. Okay. He was awesome.
Okay. And what do you do? Are you still living in Nashville at this point, or did you move back home?
So no, actually, I had already moved to LA. So the label was definitely pushing me to move to LA, which I'm glad that they did, because I was struggling to find the right people for my music in Nashville. And I love Nashville, but it is still very like country heavy, and the pop is like it's definitely progressing, but I could not find the right people for my stuff.
That makes sense. And the second and pop is LA, right? I mean, that's if you're gonna write pop music, you go to LA.
Pop is here.
Sure.
And the second that I moved out to LA, I just immediately was like, okay, hell yeah, like let's go.
Okay.
But this is like a couple months after I moved out to LA, I ended up getting dropped. So I was like, oh damn, like I moved to LA, and then that's it. But
at least you're in the spot you need, like you eventually needed to be.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, after I got dropped, I never really skipped a beat. I just kind of went into a bunch of sessions and kept developing, and eventually came together like my Woman of the Hour EP. And I ended up putting that out through AWOL. Okay. And it started doing really well, and eventually led me to kind of where I'm at now, currently signed with Ultra.
But with that, so where do you start seeing like the success of that? Because you put that record out in 2020, right? That EP. Was this in the pandemic when you put the EP out? Oh my. Okay. So
so it was.
So how does this happen? So were all the songs were done? Were you teasing them? Because I know you have a big TikTok following, and that kind of helped. Not helped, but like I know that's kind of something that came along with your music, right? Like you were doing a niche thing on there, and then it turned into. But like, was that all happening in the same time, or like where were the songs at? Were you pushing those out earlier?
Yeah, so we were super excited, trying to like book in some spotlight shows around like the singles releasing off of the Moment of the Hour EP, and then all of a sudden the pandemic hit the second that we dropped the first single. We were like, damn, because I had spent a year and a half like building and building, and then all of a sudden everything.
Yeah, you got this whole plan, I'm sure, ready to go. Okay, we're gonna do this and that and this, and
so
then
yeah, we were like, all right, we got to regroup and figure out what to do. But obviously during the pandemic, TikTok became just like an incredible platform for independent artists and for building an audience. So for the first couple singles, I didn't really use TikTok just because I guess I was like still learning the ropes of it, and I was like, what is this? Like,
well, it was like dance challenges and like it got real weird.
It was such a new, not that it was a new platform because it obviously was Musically at one point, but it was very new to me at the time. So I was like, I don't really know what I'm doing here. But I would say like towards the end of that EP, I had gotten pretty good at being able to promote myself, and I was doing a lot of covers that were performing super well. So I built up quite an audience, and it was directly translating into streams. Like every time I would have a video go somewhat viral, like my streams the next day would be up. And that was really crazy to see. And that was definitely when I started gaining like real momentum for the first time.
And which is interesting because not a lot of people can pull that off, I feel like, on TikTok. Like just because you're doing well on TikTok doesn't necessarily mean someone's going to take the extra step to click on the thing, then they got to open another app. I mean, it's like very obviously simple, but it's just to get someone to do that is like an extra step, and then listen to it on Spotify. I mean, to jump to the next app, so to speak, is difficult to get people to do. So obviously you're doing something that people were interested enough in to be like, oh wow, I really need to check out what she's got going on over here.
Definitely.
Was there a particular video that kind of you saw that, like, what was the first one that really hit and you're like, whoa, like this is crazy?
I'm gonna skip a little bit ahead because
go ahead.
I had a couple covers that did really well, but the first,
let's only talk about your original stuff.
The video I have about my original music was actually the song called Shot Cupid, and it to this day is my best performing record. It's about to hit 30 million streams, which I'm super excited about. But no one really liked that song on my team. And I was like, all right, I'm going to leak it, prove everyone wrong so I get my way and I get to put it out. And I, sure enough, just like leaked a teeny part of the chorus that I had written in my car, and it blew up and it got like a couple million views, like, and people were begging for the song in the comments. So I just kept teasing it, and it kept blowing up over and over again until all of a sudden my team was like, all right, well, obviously we have to put this out. And I was like, that's what I thought. But yeah, so that was definitely my first experience of something truly going viral and just like watching it connect with people. And it was a really special moment for sure.
Yeah, I can't imagine how that would feel like, just to get that kind of reaction. Like, whoa, I mean, 30 million streams is, if you really put that, that's insane, the amount of people that is, right? I mean, 30 million people. You're in LA, that's like 3 times where you're at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's actually so crazy.
So that does really well. And then was the EP out in full, or you hadn't had the EP out released?
Yeah, the EP was already out at this point. It hadn't been out for a while, actually. It'd been out for probably like 6 or 7 months. So Shot Cupid was like the first song that I ended up dropping as like a single.
The first single.
And then from there I just started leaking all my songs left and right, and I had a couple more go viral after that, and I kind of started getting in this routine of leaking songs, having them pop off, and then putting them out off the back of the momentum, which was really cool. But it would also make me so anxious because like I would be like, oh man, I hope this next song that I'm super excited about does well too. And
it's like you're kind of chasing that, the one. Yeah,
it's like the funny saying of like, I guess it's not like really funny, but it's like building original momentum is like the easiest part, but then keeping it is like the hardest part. And that's so true. It's like once you get it going, like how do you make it not stop?
Right.
And I think that that's the thing that stresses me out the most. It's like, all right, what can I constantly bring to the table that's always surprising and always new and refreshing?
I think you're doing that, especially with the new one that you released recently enough. Yeah. So, and I was gonna say, like, at least you have, excuse me, you have like a catalog of songs. It wasn't like, especially during the pandemic-y, like TikTok thing, which is still happening. Like, you'll get an artist that'll put a song out and it's just like, it's blowing up. It's got all these streams, and then they've never done anything else, right? And then it's like, okay, now what? And then they try to put out something similar, and then no one cares, and then they're gone. So it's like, at least you had not only the talent and the validation that it's something that you can do well, but once it lands, it's like, okay, now it's just a matter of continuing forward.
Right.
Where a lot of people don't have that luxury, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely, I will say I'm glad that I haven't like blown up yet, just because I want to make sure that when that moment does happen, I have everything else to back it up. Because my biggest fear, especially just with how music is so quickly consumed nowadays, I want to make sure that I'm not just a flash in a pan, and that I don't just have a quick little bleep moment and then it's done. Like, I want to make sure the moment's right and that I'm able to have a really long career.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of artists will say that, like, they'd rather have that kind of slow burn that, equates to, playing certain size venues for long period of time, or everything you put out instead of a single. People are going to listen to the whole record, or certain things in that realm, instead of just like, oh, you're the girl known for blah, 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 or you're the guy known for this. It's Stela Cole, and I love all of her songs.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So what draws the attention of American Song Contest, which is like essentially Eurovision United States, right?
Yeah.
Like, was their take on it?
I signed an NDA, so I can't really like say a lot about it. Okay. I was really grateful for the opportunity, and getting to meet Snoop Dogg was really cool.
Okay.
So much from it. Yeah, and it was a great way to just keep building momentum while I was working on my like next batch of songs, like Rhapsody In Pink and my next single that's coming out soon. So yeah, it was a really great like stepping stone, and I met a lot of amazing artists from it, and getting to represent Georgia was also just really special. But there were definitely a couple things that were a little frustrating just when it came to overall like creative control, but
it is what it is. That's TV, right?
Yeah, it's TV, classic TV.
But I will give you credit, and the fact that you came out with that, you dropped DIY as your song, like, that was a pretty hard move. Because if you listen to, I mean, the lyrics are like very in your face, like to be like, I'm on American Song Contest representing, Georgia, and then the first line is like, oh damn, like she's here.
Yeah, no, it's like we actually had to put up a little bit of a fight to get that song across the finish line, but I'm glad that we did, because at the time in my life, that was a song that I was really, really feeling. So
it's such a cool song, and just to have that platform, and then to present that as the song, because I hadn't heard it, so I'm like, oh, I wonder what, here's the song that you got on, and I'm like, whoa, damn, like this. I'm really proud of you for doing this one. Like, it wasn't anything. I was just because I had heard Rhapsody in Pink, and like I was listening to your other songs, and I'm like, okay, like I wonder if she had to go like way conservative on this song, but no, not at all.
I did not. I obviously had to make a clean version for the actual like performance, and that was so hard to not actually cuss on national television. Like, I had to practice that so much to make sure I didn't accidentally slip out like a little fuck bomb like here and there.
Yeah, or because like, in the beginning, what's the first line something you said?
I've been doing
like
wife
something
shit.
About shit.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, wife shit. That's what it was. That is a great line. I was like, damn, right out the gate.
Right off the bat. All right.
It literally opens a gate, and you're like, I've been doing some wife shit. I'm like, okay.
Okay.
But I couldn't find the actual performance on YouTube. Like,
yeah, they took everything down.
Yeah, what the hell?
I don't really know. I don't know if it has to do with just like the rights of like NBC, but yeah, they took everything down, like I think within 30 days after the show ended. Yeah, like really? It's like not really anywhere anymore.
I had to watch some clown like do a reaction video to it. I'm like, what is this? And it's like some guy like chiming in. He's like, okay, the door is opening and now she's walking out and there's piano. And it's like, okay. I just wanted, because all I wanted to hear was how you were able to get away with the song the way it was that I heard.
Yeah, I don't really know how we actually ended up making that happen, but I'm very glad that we did.
That's awesome.
And I will say another thing that was really a great learning experience was, so I'm the least graceful person I've ever met in my life. I can't dance. I've never been able to. But I'm starting to learn because by the time I'm able to tour and play shows, I want to at least have enough experience dancing to do basic choreography and then switch in between that and interacting with like the crowd.
Sure.
And doing the show was my first experience dancing at all. Like I did not know what I was doing. But that was a really huge wake-up call that I needed, just because one, dancing and singing at the same time is way harder than it looks. Like the breath support, and like you have to be in shape for that shit. Like and after I got off the show, I actually started going to the gym almost every day, and I have a personal trainer now because I want to make sure that by the time I start performing for real, that I'm like ready to go, because I completely underestimated how difficult it is to be on a stage for one song, but for like a 45-minute set, singing and dancing at the same time. Like you have to be in tip-top shape for that to be a thing, without lip syncing at least. And
even lip syncing. I mean, not that you want to do that, but like, you look at artists and it's like, oh, like that's such a cool job to be able to just get up there and sing their songs for an hour, 45 minutes a day.
It's a workout.
It's like, a day for like months on end. And the amount of, especially in like the pop scene where you have to bring like the show, right? I mean, you watch the like Britney Spears documentary, and they were like,
work her to the bone.
Yeah, she was like a circus clown. They're like, okay, you're gonna do this like all day, blah blah. She's just like running around and learning how to do this and dance and this and that. And it's like, whoa, like I couldn't believe. I mean, it's like you're like an athlete.
Yeah, no, you really, really have to be. And like Beyonce's like Homecoming, like I don't know if he's watched on that too, but her Coachella performance, like I totally underestimated it. Oh my god, like. And it's because they make it look so easy because they're pros.
Right.
And I obviously like, I will get to that point eventually, but I like, I've been in the gym like all the time since I stopped the show, just because I am not messing around. I'm like ready to go. I want to make sure that I'm in tip-top shape by the time I perform.
From the video I saw, at least you were like about this big in the corner, and the reaction of this dude. It looked like you, I'm shocked to hear that you've never danced before. Or you weren't like a dancer?
No, I like will fall over anything in sight. Like I'm so clumsy and just like not graceful. Like I'm very stiff. Like I just need to learn how to like, I guess, loosen up a bit.
Okay.
But I'm working on that now. And
probably doesn't help with your back though. Like, is that bothering you anymore? Or you've been able to
not really. Which that's also why I got a personal trainer, because I want to be super careful about that. Just because obviously, too.
Oh yeah, you don't want to be back.
Like you not want to fuck around with your back.
No.
And I don't even have the time to go through another injury like that. Like I cannot afford the amount of time I would lose over not being able to walk and over getting a surgery and the recovery time. Like I can't afford to do that. So that's why I got a personal trainer, because I want to make sure everything I'm doing is safe and I'm not going to get injured.
Yeah, that's really smart. I should get myself a personal trainer, because I'm old. I can't afford to get hurt at all. That'll be my last one. So tell me about Rhapsody in Pink. And you took a piece of a classical song, right? Is that's kind of what the beginning of it is? Yeah.
So the song that I interpolated is called it's called Rhapsody in Blue, and it's this beautiful jazz piano piece by George Gershwin. And the song originally was written and came out, I think, in 1924. But it went into...
It's long too, isn't it? Like 20 minutes or something like that?
It's literally like 16 minutes long or something like that. It's really, really long. But that melody, like that is one of the main themes that kind of circles back around throughout the piece. And it's one of my favorite melodies of all time. I grew up loving that song. It was on Fantasia and all that stuff. But I remember I would have never thought to have flipped it just because I didn't grow up doing music. But I remember when I was just getting into music, I was watching The Great Gatsby, which is like one of my favorite movies, the Baz Luhrmann Great Gatsby. I just love like aesthetically how it's shot. I think it's so beautiful and I love the music in it. And there's this one massive party scene kind of towards the beginning where they introduced Jay Gatsby's character for the first time. And the song, he like turns around and like raises up a glass and it's this massive moment. There's fireworks in the background and they're playing Rhapsody in Blue by George Gershwin in the background with like a full-blown orchestra. And it's just like the coolest moment ever. And I remember watching that after I'd gotten into music being like, how has nobody flipped this? Like, I was shocked. And I didn't know how to write songs well enough at the time to actually be able to execute it. So I just kind of like wrote the idea down in my notes and just like sat on it. So that was literally like almost 6 years ago. That was like 5 or 6 years ago. Yeah. And the song actually went into public domain in 2020. So that was a really exciting moment because at that point in time, I was definitely getting to a place where I knew I could execute my vision for it properly. And then after that, I just kind of waited to find the right producer for it because the song is very in your face and it's pretty creative and jarring and unpredictable. So I wanted to make sure that the producer I was going to have help me execute it was ready to go, kind of experiment and throw shit at the wall. And I eventually had like found my producer named Alex and I was like, he's my guy. And from there, we just wrote it one night, stayed up till like 4:30 in the morning working on it. And it just came together like seamlessly. And
awesome. The whole thing?
Yeah, whole thing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's another song though. It's like it's like a DIY, like you right out the gate, right? Yeah. I mean, just more like in your face. I'm a badass. Very. Like, and you dance in the music video for that song too. So was that a whole thing that you had to learn?
Yeah. So it's one of those things where I'm just like forcing myself to do it.
Okay.
Like I'm going to put myself out there and force myself to get better until I'm like, okay, I can dance now. But yeah, we actually didn't shoot a music video for this song. Just because I love music videos and I want to be able to make music videos for all my songs, like in the future when I have budgets for them. But I don't necessarily think music videos like push the needle for upcoming artists. Like I think they're a great branding tool, but I wanted to just try an approach that we hadn't taken before on the marketing side. And I wanted to just see if we could like start a dance trend or anything like that on TikTok with just like short little clips of the song with choreography. And it's actually a huge bummer because there's been a massive shift in the TikTok algorithm within the past month and a half. So everything that we had kind of planned out is just like not going quite as we had planned. But
oh, really? What is it more like music skewed now and less dance challenging?
They have completely shifted the algorithm to where it is way harder for artists to like have a viral moment with their songs. And it's like that like across the board. Yeah.
What are they pushing?
A couple of things, but I think it's becoming way more niche now. It's way harder to go viral. But
like on a song, you're saying? Like I guess what are they pushing then? I'm so old. I don't know TikTok very well. Like I don't get it. Like I mean I understand it. I've seen it, but like I'm not that hip to knowing like, okay, this is switching up. These are things that are happening now with it.
Yeah.
But like, because it was like, song, like I came from radio. I did radio for 17 years. And it was like, now I'm hearing, because I got out of it and this is my thing. But like, it's like program directors are going to songs that are doing well on TikTok now. Like, oh, that's a TikTok song. I'm going to add that to our, whatever, top 40 playlist. And so I would think that would be what TikTok would want to like latch onto since it's what it's kind of known for.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Rhapsody In Pink was actually the first song that I could not make go viral before it came out.
Interesting.
Which like is crazy because out of all my songs that I've like leaked, that would have been the one that I would have put my money on that would go viral, just because it has so many changes and it's constantly doing new things.
Mm-hmm. And the lyrics are like in your face. They're like,
right.
It's similar to like the I Shot Cupid one, where it's like, you know, more in your face.
Very colorful, just like, right up in your face. But yeah, the algorithm has changed a lot. So I'm trying to kind of, I guess, like gauge and figure out how to continue like building momentum with the shift.
Mm-hmm.
But we shot all those dance clips to try to just get some kind of trend moving with the song, which was a really cool learning experience. And like, once again, I want to get to a place where I'm really comfortable with choreography and stuff. So I like learned a lot from it. It was super fun. And we still have tons of dance videos that we're just going to be like leaking throughout the next like couple months.
Okay. So the music video for it wasn't shot as the concept wasn't to be a music video. It was just going to be clipped out. And then you just pushed it in one big thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it has a storyline to it. I don't know.
Yeah,
is it out does. Or am I like leaking all this information right now?
No, not at all.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. It's a cool video. I mean, you have the champagne. There's like roses everywhere, flower petals. Am I thinking of the wrong one? Am I leaking?
No, you're thinking of okay. No. Sorry. I just like went off on an entire tangent of just something that was totally different. Okay. So we did do a visualizer. We did an official visualizer for Rhapsody in Pink, which was actually taken on set of the photo shoot by my videographer named Nixie. She's incredible. And we had enough B-roll content to basically put together like a full-length visualizer. So it's kind of like, it does kind of pair as a music video. But
you're singing along to it and everything. So I figured that was just a music video.
Yeah, no. So it's technically,
and it's got credits at the end. Like okay. So, oh, wow. No, so that was just a visualizer for it.
Yeah. So sorry, I thought you were talking about, because we also shot like little 15-second clips of like an actual choreographed like dance routine that we had built for the song.
Wait, now I'm gonna Google this. Sorry. So what I was watching was just a visualizer for the song.
Yeah.
Oh man, I feel bad.
Just a visualizer. No, I would love to someday make a music video for this song. Like, the vision that I have for it is just outrageous. But gotta get.
Are you sure? First. Hold on. Now I'm confused. Okay, hold on here.
It might say official video on Ultra's page, but on my page it just says visualizer.
Okay, it does.
It's not actually.
Because yeah, because it does say official video. Because I'm like, am I watching the wrong thing?
That's a pretty fair thing to assume.
Yeah, because it says
it says official video.
Official video.
Yeah, all right, that's fair enough.
Okay, well now I have to find the other one that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Was this the purple one?
No, it's just like 50. It's a bunch of like really short clips that we like put on TikTok and Instagram reels and stuff.
Okay, I'll just look.
Sorry,
but that's funny. Okay.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but
you're probably so confused. You're like, what?
Well, I was like, wait a minute. That's why I thought I'd leaked it. I'm like, am I leaking some video that hasn't came out yet? Because sometimes I'll get the publicist will send me the email with the link and it'll be like private link. But sorry.
No, you're fine. That's
okay. So that was just from the actual photo shoot.
Yeah, that was taken as like B-roll footage of the photo shoot, and we had so many good shots that we were like, fuck it, let's just do it.
Yeah, it turned into a rad video. I'll give you that, or visualizer. So what's okay? That was the new one. You said you have another song coming out. Have you been teasing it as well, or not?
So
yet?
I've like teased it a couple times, but it's once again the algorithm is so weird right now that I've taken it down and I'm just going to keep reposting it until something goes. But I've started teasing it on TikTok. It's called Star.
Okay.
And if I had something to compare it to, I would say it's almost like early Kanye, like his graduation album specifically.
Oh, wow. I love that record.
Meets Fergie, which I've also referenced Fergie a lot for Rhapsody in Pink.
Okay, I could hear that too.
Yeah, like
that you mentioned it.
The Duchess album, her debut album, like I love that record. And that's been
My Humps. That was my jam. That was a good one.
It's so good. But yes, I referenced that and then referenced the whole graduation album for Star. So I think it's pretty clear. Like the influences are like they're very present in the song.
Cool.
but it's just a super empowering song about being told no over and over again, but just like keeping my head down and working really hard, and never giving up if I really believe in something. So that's kind of what it's about. I'm really excited for it.
I love that. I can't wait to hear it. I love what you're doing. You do you have live shows planned, or you're just talking about just getting
we're
physically ready for it? Physically
getting ready for it. We're working towards it. We've been talking to a couple agencies, and we're hopefully going to book in some spotlight shows around the end of the year, early next year, and hopefully hop on a tour after that.
Awesome. You should play Nashville. That'd be cool.
Cool.
Come back to your roots.
I know.
Well, thank you so much for doing this. This was so much fun. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I had a blast.
Of course. Awesome. Well, I have one more question, and I'll let you go. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Yeah, I actually do. And this is really cliche, but be authentic. Then that once again sounds so cliche, but there's so many songs that are released every single day, like thousands and thousands and thousands. And you have to find a way to cut through. And the best way to cut through is to do something that sounds completely authentic and sounds like something that's never been done before. And the best way to do that is find what makes you unique and be authentic. So I would say that. And then I would also say, just work hard. Consistency is key. Yeah, I would say those two things paired together. Like, good music always finds its way at the end of the day, but I'm also a firm believer in like creating your own luck, and constantly putting yourself out there. So I'd say consistency and authenticity. Bringing it backward.